guys, welcome back to A Page in the Chapter, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Paige and today we are talking about my 5-star predictions. I am unsure if making 5-star predictions is even a good idea. Is it gonna put too much pressure on me to really like these books? I don't know, but I do think it's fun to think about books that I really think are going to impress me and talk about books that I'm really excited to get to, because that is essentially what 5-star predictions are. They're just books that you really think are gonna blow you away, and so you can't wait to read them. And I think when I look at it like that, it's a really fun thing to share. So I am looking forward to talking through those books with you today. I have 7 books that I am super excited to get to in the first couple months of 2024, and hopefully really enjoy and have some new favorites and have some new obsessions to dive into and talk about on this channel. So really looking forward to getting my hands on a lot of these books. If you guys are excited to hear about my favorites, or you're excited to see if I like these or why I'm excited about them, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for future content. I upload every single Wednesday and every single Sunday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here for you to enjoy. Also, do please feel free to check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Page in Chapter, so you can see what I'm reading and how I'm reviewing it in real time, and you'll be able to see in real time how I actually feel about these books that I am super excited to get to. I feel like I am rambling on, so without further ado, let's get on into my 5-star predictions for 2024. Now, a lot of these books are already out or have been out for a while. These are not like anticipated releases. They're just books that I genuinely think are going to be 5 stars and are excited to get to. There's no kind of time frame on this. If you are interested in my anticipated releases, then do let me know and I can make that video. So the first book that I want to talk about is the only sequel on this list. So it potentially stands the best chance of being a 5-star read, because obviously I have the first book to go on for this prediction, but that is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherworlds. I adored Encyclopedia of Fairies. It takes a little bit of getting used to the writing style. I was reading it in the beginning and was a bit unsure. It took me a little while to really like warm up to the story and get into it and kind of see what the hype was about, but Encyclopedia of Fairies just had immaculate vibes. It was so cozy. It really got that wintry cozy feel to it, whilst also kind of managing to pinpoint the coziness that I think can be found in academia and really bringing that in. I wouldn't say it was like a dark academia or anything like that, but I think there is something cozy about the idea of studying and researching in academia, and I think the first book in this series really like managed to bring that onto the page, and yeah, the vibes were just immaculate. So I am so excited to get to the sequel. I haven't really looked into what this one is actually about. I think I just want to go in not really knowing anything, just having the first book and seeing how we go. Really hoping that this one doesn't let me down, but I am here for the cozy vibes. So if this book has the same cozy vibes as the first one, then I think we're in for a pretty good chance of this being a 5-star read, because I don't know, like I can't really explain why I loved the first book so much other than it was just the vibes, which I appreciate is probably not helpful if you're looking to read a book or you want a review from me. It had like a very cozy kind of rivals to lovers romance, but the romance element I wouldn't say was like the central part of the plot. But you also had Emily Wilde in this academic setting trying to research fairies and put together her Encyclopedia of Fairies, whilst also navigating a new society, and it was kind of anthropological in the way it approached that. And I don't know, it was the weirdest book I've ever read in terms of the writing style and the story itself, but was also incredibly cozy, adorable, and I will hype up that book for its vibes as much as I possibly can before everyone gets sick of hearing the word vibes. My next 5-star prediction is actually an anticipated release. Sometimes they do be one and the same, and that is Funny Story by Emily Henry. I pretty much land on the side of I love Emily Henry books. The only one that I really dislike is You and Me on Vacation, but I don't like Friends to Lovers, so that one kind of checks out. Even Emily Henry cannot get me to like Friends to Lovers, I'm afraid. So I am very, very excited to get to Funny Story when this one comes out. It's probably one of my most anticipated reads of the year. I just want more Emily Henry books in my life. Every time I finish one, I'm like, oh, gotta wait until next summer to get another one now. But Funny Story already has a 4.5 star rating on Goodreads just from ARC readers, and I know that if you have an ARC for Emily Henry, then you're probably a really big fan of hers anyway, so like the reviews are going to be slightly skewed towards positive, but I think it's still a good sign that it has such high Goodreads reviews so far. So this follows our main character, and she has moved to her fiance's hometown, and she doesn't know anyone, doesn't have any family, thought that this was like a love story, only to find that when she moves with her fiance to his hometown, that he is actually still in love with his like childhood best friend kind of vibes. And that's why I hate Friends to Lovers, because they always, in Friends to Lovers stories, like I need to take a side route and rant about this. Why do Friends to Lovers authors always have to write a scene where they are in new relationships but they are basically cheating on those new relationships? I just hate that. Like, how can you not know? I don't know, it makes it really hard for me to root for the story, because I'm always thinking about their new partners, and I'm like, well, that's what you've done is really unfair to your new partner. But anyway, so this basically tells the other side to a Friends to Lovers story, the side that I've always wanted to hear. And so basically our main character, being stuck in this town where she doesn't have any friends or family, proposes that she moves in with the childhood best friend's ex because he is the only person who could possibly understand the situation that they're in. They have both been left for the other person's partner, and so they decide to move in together. I wouldn't say that Emily Henry books are ever just romances. She really fleshes out her characters well. She really gives them issues and baggage and things that they then kind of work through and deal with on the page, and I really like that about her stories, and I'm really intrigued to see what the characters in this story are like, what their issues are, and how that is kind of brought to the surface by the situations that they find them in. And I'm just really intrigued by this one because, as I said, I've always had an issue with Friends to Lovers because I hate that they tend to always have an emotional cheating underline. I think it's just going to be really fun to kind of see someone explore the other side of that, and so I'm super excited about this book. Something that you should maybe know about me this year: I am in my romantasy era. I have struggled to put down romantasies lately. It's like all I want to read, it's all I keep buying, all I keep finding recommendations for. I'm just on a huge romantasy kick, and so this list is reflective of that a little bit. And the main romantasy that I really want to get to this year, that I keep hearing people talk about, is The Serpent of the Wings of Night. And I don't know, that title is long and confusing and I don't love it, but I keep hearing such good things about this as a romantasy. I think it's kind of one of those like standard romantasies. Like if you ask someone for a romantasy recommendation, they're probably gonna bring up this series, and I want to be in on it. I want to know what everyone's talking about. I have a really good feeling about this being a 5 stars. I trust the people who have recommended it. Just think that the vibes are going to be immaculate. So this follows our main character, and she is the adopted daughter of the vampire king in this world. Her options in life are basically just to be like vampire prey. Like, she's not in a great spot really. So she enters a tournament held by the god of death, and as a result of this tournament she has to form an alliance with one of her rivals, and she's very drawn to him. So I'm assuming it's gonna become a little bit of a romance situation between them, and I am so here for that because it sounds great. I just like, one thing that I just really love about romantasies is they are regular romance novels on crack. Like, you're not bound by any of the rules of the normal world. You, like Marriage of Convenience, for example, you could have it that all marriages in your kingdom have to be a marriage of convenience. You're forced to marry someone. Like, you are not bound by logic. You can do the most unhinged things with tropes, and I love that. And so I cannot wait to see how it plays out in this new world. I can't wait to be invested in this new world, and it is vampire based with like a competition element, and I'm just here for it. I'm so so invested in this book being 5 stars. If it lets me down, I will never ever ever recover. I need to enjoy this book. You know what? Let's just continue on the fantasy romance wave, because most of this list is romantasy. The next book that I think will be a 5-star read is The Everking by LJ Andrews, and you know that I'm committed to this because I spent £15 on a paperback copy of this book, so you know that I genuinely think this is gonna be a 5-star, especially because I'm pretty sure that this is available on Kindle Unlimited, so free, £15. I must be committed to this book series. Basically, some people at work have been talking a lot about this series and really hyping up this series, and I trust the people I work with. They know what they're talking about when it comes to books. So I decided to go and pick up this book, and I really think that it's gonna be a 5 stars, and I'm here for all of the romantasy recs this year. Like, I am just in my romantasy era, and I cannot wait for all of the fun romance books that I'm gonna get to read this year as a result of finally getting back into fantasy worlds. And do you want to know, like, I don't know the blurb of this. The things that made me pick this up are people from work and this one line that I'm about to read to you right now, and that is, they stole his crown, so he stole their daughter. I bought the book there and then. It sounds so dark, maybe kind of trashy, which is fine. I am not opposed to a little bit of like trashiness in my romance novels. I actually kind of like fantasy romances when they're a little bit unhinged, and I am so excited to get to this one. I know the sequel has just come out, or is just about to come out, so I'm honestly excited to get myself lost in this world. So this basically follows our main character Eric, and his enemies have like chained him up and kept him captive for years, and he has wanted nothing but revenge. And then one day the daughter of his captors accidentally sets him free, so she ends up kind of being involved in Eric's plan for revenge. The blurb doesn't give too much away, which I'm happy about. I am a big fan of going into books not really knowing much about them. I think the way a book is set up is naturally designed to give you all of the information that you need at the point of the book you're at, so I don't think you can do anything wrong by only knowing what you're provided in the book. So yeah, I'm super excited to get to this one. This is probably going to be one of my next reads. Do think that if this book isn't a 5-star, I feel like the series overall could still be a favorite, slash maybe the sequel could be a 5-star, so I'm talking about it in this video. This next one, it's been out for a little while, but I haven't picked it up yet. I just keep not purchasing this book, but I really want to read this series, and the more reviews I see of it, the more people keep talking about it, the more I think that this could be a 5-star or like a real favorite for me, and that is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. The only Stephanie Garber book I have read is Caraval, and I did like Caraval, but I have never continued on with that series. And Once Upon a Broken Heart is set in the same universe as Caraval, I believe, and it follows our main character, and because she is broken-hearted, she ends up going and making like a deal with some kind of god or devil or something, and this deal kind of leads her on this adventure. I know that it has real fairy tale vibes. I know that a lot of people are talking about this series. I know that the covers are beautiful and really draw me in and really add to that whole fairy tale vibe that it apparently gives off, and to be honest, I'm really intrigued by this. It didn't sound that interesting to me in the beginning, especially because it's a young adult novel and I'm really drifting from young adult. But the more I hear about it, the more tempted I become. I mean, it's just influencing at its finest, really, isn't it? But I'm giving in, and I actually do think that this could be a 5-star, or at least one of the books in this series could be a 5-star. I know people are just really into this series and its characters, and I've heard so many good things, and all of those good things match with what I consider to be a really good book. So I think the chances of this one being a 5-star are really high. So I have ordered these books. I'm waiting for them to get to me so that I can actually like get started on them. I can't say it's like a massive like priority. They're not going to be like my next book that I pick up or anything like that, but I really want to get to the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy by Stephanie Garber. I have heard that they kind of spoil the rest of the Caraval series, but if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't see myself continuing with the Caraval series, so I'm okay to get spoiled for that and just read this one. The penultimate book on my 5-star predictions list is A Fate Inked in Blood. This is a very anticipated release for me, and I feel like for most people are very interested in this book that's coming out. This is a Norse mythology inspired fantasy romance. Need I say more, frankly? But we follow our main character Freya, and she is not very happy with her life. She is with a husband that she doesn't really like, and she dreams of becoming a warrior, but instead she's just kind of a farmer, I think. But one day when her husband betrays her, she is forced into a battle situation, at which point it's revealed that she actually possesses a drop of like goddess blood, which means that she can shield herself in fighting situations. I am really interested in this book. I think a Norse inspired fantasy romance is quite unique and not one I've seen around a lot. As much as I love fantasy romance, and trust me, I am not bored of this trend in fantasy romance, but fantasy romances do tend to stick with like vampires, you know, like there's a lot of vampire fantasy romance. Werewolf. I'm excited to see a fantasy romance kind of use something different. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I think it'll be a good opportunity to learn a little bit of Norse mythology, delve into a world that is a little bit more unique than some of the other fantasy romances I've been reading. And I'm already quite invested in Freya just from reading the blurb. I think I'm really gonna like her as a main character, and I'm really excited to see how this one plays out. I know the author of this book has also written The Bridge Kingdom, which I've heard of but not read. Maybe if I'd read that I would have had a little bit more guidance as to whether I'm gonna love this one, but I'm so excited about this. It's one of my most anticipated reads of this year, and I'm really hoping for it to be a 5-star read because I just think it's gonna slap so hard. And then my final 5-star prediction is an author that I like, and this is their like kind of most beloved book that this author has written. So really this should have been the first one I got to, but it's one of the last ones by this author that I'm getting to, but I really do believe this one will be a 5-star, and that is The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. I have talked before about how much I really adore Beth O'Leary books, mainly for the memories that they provide me, but I do think they are really fun contemporary romances as well. Beth O'Leary is another author who does a similar thing to Emily Henry, where all of her characters will have quite fleshed out baggage and trauma that are being brought out on the page. Like, it doesn't make sense that that's something that is fun in a contemporary romance, but I think it just adds a bit more depth, and I like my romances to have more depth to them. So this follows two main characters, and they are sharing a flat. They work on completely opposite schedules, so one of them will have the flat during the day and the other person will have the flat during the night, and they communicate through like little notes that they leave each other because they don't really, like, they just pass like ships in the night, and that is how they are able to share this flat. I have heard really good things about this book. I know a lot of people really enjoy this one, like just in the booktube community, but also I know people in real life who have really loved this book and think this is one of Beth O'Leary's best. So I have really high hopes for this one. I gave The No-Show 5 stars, which I know a lot of people really aren't huge fans of The No-Show, so I don't think it's outrageous to think that I could give this one 5 stars as well. I've been putting this one off for too long for no real reason, so I'm gonna be excited to like actually get to this book, and hopefully this can be my motivation to finally read it and get to it and whatnot. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed hearing about my 5-star book predictions for not even the whole of 2024, honestly. I'm sure I'll find more 5-star predictions later in the year. Probably just 5-star predictions for the first like 4 months of the year maybe. It's very skewed towards either romance or romantasy on this list. They are just the genres that I am obsessed with right now and can't really stop reading, so I think it's a good shout that these will be 5 stars because I'm enjoying reading from those genres so much, and I am super excited for a lot of these books to arrive so I can read them, or to finally go and pick up copies of them so I can get to them. I feel like this is just one of my best 5-star predictions video ever. I think I've got a really high chance of being right about a lot of these ones, so stay tuned for a follow-up video to see if I was right If you guys enjoyed this video and you would like to see more from me, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for future content. As I said earlier, I upload every single Wednesday and every single Sunday, so there is no shortage of book content here for you to enjoy. Also, do please feel free to check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Page and Chapter for real-time updates about what I'm reading and how I'm finding it. And so without further ado, I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, you're enjoying everything you are reading, and there are no reading slumps in your future, and I will see you for my next video. Bye guys.